Hey toy fans, I'm D21Beast and welcome back to my figure review series here on my YouTube channel, and today we're once again boldly going where no man has gone before. That's right, we've got another Star Trek review for you guys, only this time we're focusing on the original series. And as you can see here, I do have a Captain Kirk figure for you guys today. This is actually the Where No Man Has Gone Before Captain Kirk, released by Art Asylum and Diamond Select in 2006. Now if you're not familiar with the episode Where No Man Has Gone Before, it was technically the second episode in production order of the original Star Trek series, but the first episode aired on television, and the first episode that featured Captain Kirk as the captain. Previously, they had a different captain for the pilot, but as the show has picked up the series, William Shatner stepped in as captain, and here we have a representation of what's essentially first appearance Captain Kirk from Star Trek the original series, in an episode that originally aired September 22nd, 1966. Well, that's your little bit of Trek trivia for you guys. Let's go ahead and start by taking a look at that packaging. As you come down the front of the box, you do have Captain Kirk, Spock, and Bones in the upper right. You have a Starfleet Delta Shield shaped blister bubble on this card that does house the Kirk figure inside. To the right, you do have the title for the show he comes from, and off to the lower left, you do have the accessories for the figure. And finally at the bottom, you do have the nameplate for this figure indicating who he is and the episode he comes from. Flipping this package around now, you do have a description in the upper left of the Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, which was the particular wave that this Kirk figure was released with, even though he's not from that specific episode, and you do see all the other figures available in the Mirror Mirror wave. As you come down the box, you have some additional pictures of other figures that were available at the time from Star Trek The Next Generation, as well as Star Trek films, and even some ships and accessories that were available. And finally at the bottom, you do have the logo for CBS, Diamond Select, and Art Asylum, all companies involved in making sure this figure happened. Alright guys, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get Captain Kirk out of the box and see what this guy is all about. Alright toy fans, here we have Captain Kirk out of the box, and right away you can see that the sculpt work on this figure is absolutely fantastic. Art Asylum and Diamond Select have definitely maintained their high level of standards we've come to expect with their Star Trek figures. As I bring this figure in close, you can see that there is no way you're going to mistake this for anybody but Captain Kirk, William Shatner. And this is just a perfect face sculpt. I'd say it's better than a lot of the Next Generation figures I've already covered. I really like that head sculpt. And I think the paintwork on the figure is absolutely great too. I don't know if it's coming through on my camera, but they even added almost like this blush to the cheeks on either side of the figure. I mean, the skin tone's just great. I like the way that the hair's been sculpted and painted. I like the way that the eyebrows have been painted, the eyes. I mean, everything is really great about that head sculpt. And as you come down the figure here, you are going to see that there's a textured collar here. They did sculpt the collar on the figure. You can see that they did sculpt the patch or the Delta Shield on the front of the figure, and it is painted appropriately. It's a little missed there on the edge, but otherwise it looks pretty good. There's all these natural fabric creases and indentations on the figure, both on the torso and on the arms. For the torso of the figure, they did use this sort of rubbery material to kind of add to the look of realism for the tunic. As you come down, you can see that he does have the 2 gold bars on the arm, which is consistent with the way he appeared in Where No Man Has Gone Before. That did immediately change the next episode. He's got some great sculpting work on his hands here. Those look just like the hand should look, and there's even some paint work on the back here to add some variation to the skin tone. And as you come down the legs, you do see that there's some more natural fabric creases on the legs, and we move down further, and we've got the sort of bell bottoms that the 60s outfit was kind of known for having, and then some glossy paint on the boots. And then coming up the back of the figure here, we can see that everything is painted and sculpted exactly the way you'd expect it to be on the Star Trek figure. Now, while I do think that Art Asylum sculpted this uniform really nicely, I do feel like they missed the mark a bit with the color. As you notice here on the right, there's an image of Kirk from the actual episode Where No Man Has Gone Before, and you can see that that particular uniform is a little more suede and definitely looks a lot more gold than the figure we're getting off here to the left. So it is a bit disappointing that the colors don't match perfectly. Now, if you're not familiar with Star Trek and don't know the difference between the original outfits that were worn in the first aired episode of the show versus what was worn later for most of the rest of the show, you look off here to the right now and you're going to see the sort of gold uniforms with the black collars that Kirk is more commonly seen wearing. And those are actually the uniforms that even inspired the look of the uniforms for the new J.J. Abrams films. This Captain Kirk figure comes with the 3 accessories you see off here to the right. The first one we're going to take a look at is your standard issue Starfleet phaser pistol. It's got some excellent sculpting work, and the paintwork is just awesome on this thing. All the right colors are where they should be. I like that we've got the white on the top of the phaser here for the buttons. I like the silver trim that's running around. Even on here on the end, they even painted the setting knob here. Everything is just absolutely perfect on this phaser, and I'm really glad that they put all that quality into this little device. The next item we have here is going to be your standard issue communicator. And again, excellent paintwork and excellent sculpting. They got the different colored little orb buttons here inside, the red, the blue, and the yellow. If you ever see a prop replica from the show, that's actually accurate to the way these things looked on the original series. We've got some nice silver paint in here, some nice silver paint here, and then of course the screen door doesn't actually flip open or close, but it is painted gold and it looks really, really nice. And this is a great representation of the communicator from the original series. Finally, what we have here is the tricorder. Of course, you saw these anytime they went down planet side. Now, Kirk himself didn't usually carry one, but it's still cool that he came with one. It does have some nice sculpt work here. Looks just like the tricorder was supposed to. I like that it has the silver sort of painting here around the edges. Everything that was silver on the original tricorder is painted silver. We even have some nice sort of matte gray here for the screen on the tricorder. And they even worked on a little bit of gold there. Again, just to make this look just like it did on the series. And it does have this flexible rubber strap, so it's pretty easy to just slip it onto your Kirk figure without any issue. Moving on to articulation, you can see that this Kirk figure does have a head that is seemingly locked in place. It looks like it's designed to turn left and right, but my Kirk just won't do it. In fact, the only articulation I can get out of him is that his head will move down this far and back up that far, and it has to be angled like that. I don't know if that's standard across the line or if it's just my Kirk. And then he does rotate all the way around here at the shoulder. He does have a hinge that allows his arm to move up from the body about that far. He does have full bicep rotation as well as single jointed elbow that moves down that far and back that far. And he's got full wrist rotation, and that articulation is copied here on the other side. He does have sort of a diaphragm joint here that doesn't move a whole lot, but he can bend forward that far. Let's try that again. Oh, it doesn't move a lot. And then he bends back a little bit farther. And then he has no waist rotation, but his diaphragm joint will spin left and right. He's got a single jointed hip that'll move forward that far and back to about standing position. He does have a lower thigh swivel here that spins all the way around, as well as having a single jointed knee that'll bend down that far and forward that far. He's also got upper boot rotation here, and then he's got a joint at his ankle that'll move forward only about that far and down that far. So not a ton of articulation like we've seen on something like a Marvel Legend, but pretty standard for what we've seen with the Diamond Select Art Asylum figures, and really, these guys aren't going to strike super dynamic poses, so I think it's perfect for what we've got. Height-wise, we can see Captain Kirk does come in at right around 7 inches tall. For some size comparison, here we have Where No Man Has Gone Before Kirk compared to the standard release of Kirk available from the same series. Here we have Kirk compared to Captain Picard from the Next Generation toy line by Art Asylum and Diamond Select. And overall, the original series toy line was just a little bit shorter in scale overall than the Next Generation figures had been. Here he is compared to the Marvel Select Doctor Doom, and compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite series Wolverine. And finally, here we have Captain Kirk from Art Asylum compared to his Playmates counterpart released in 1993. Alright toy fans, well that's my review of the Where No Man Has Gone Before Captain Kirk figure released by Art Asylum and Diamond Select in 2006. Overall, I really do like this figure. Aside from the uniform being the wrong shade of yellow, I think this figure is a lot of fun. Now, I've got to say though, this figure is probably not necessary for your collection unless you're just a completionist and have to have every version of every Star Trek character out there. If you've already got the standard version of Kirk for your TOS crew, go ahead and stick with what you've got. He probably looks better when lined up with all the rest of your figures. But if you're looking to change things up a little bit or just get all the rare figures, definitely try to track down this Kirk figure. And the good news is, he's not going for a lot on the secondary market. So the demand for this figure must never have been very high, so he should be easy to track down. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. Also be sure to hit me up on Twitter at D21Beast. Thanks for watching, and live long and prosper. Hey toy fans, did you watch this review and find yourself wanting to know more about Captain Kirk? Well, Star Trek actually streams on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. So for this particular version of Captain Kirk, be sure to check out Where No Man Has Gone Before, or check out these other selected episodes to learn more about this great character.